of the immortality field, taken out of the fight. The blade will come through Choi Se-Wan. Finds one. What's going to be gone now? The DPS cut down Choi Se-Wan. Looking for another.
They've only got to worry about this Nano Barrage, which is incoming.
Yeah, and well, they should worry about it because Flutter does have to worry about the D.Va. The Barrage takes down Bone. It's not press Q to respawn, press Q to win the fight. With the help of all your friends, his Flutter he can't be stopped.
Creative popping his own as they try to get the entry here on the point. Profit is all going to be taken down. Photon barrier out. Now block out some of that damage. Jab to the side, finds Creative, takes him down. Oh, the charge almost gets an almost really nice boot back, trying to keep himself alive.
Oh, wow! The follow through. Lige gone and Fate serve up a buffet to Izayaki. It's over.
Was that one right click? Did he pull a Jaws hitting the three people through one right click? Okay, Izayaki.
I need to see a replay of that, please.
All right, we are back. It is time to go into our third and final series of the evening here. Avril, been a bit of a long day. You know, we go from a map 5 into a 3-1. I say let's just keep going with it. Yeah, exactly. Let's just go ahead and have a brand new toilet bowl. But I don't know really what to anticipate. We saw the Guangzhou Charge just yesterday. Honestly, they looked much improved. It was a much better performance from them, than we've seen in recent history. Now they go up against the Shanghai Dragons, who have been having a bit of a struggle so far in the Countdown Cup. I've been dropping series left, right, and center to multiple other teams who you never really would have anticipated that to happen with, including NYXL. So can Guangzhou Charge join the ranks of teams to best them, or do we see Shanghai kind of get back into form a little bit more here and close this out?
Well, Shanghai right now, let me just draw the stakes again. Shanghai are all but eliminated from the Countdown Cup. The only way Shanghai climb back in is, first of all, they would need a 3-0 Guangzhou Charge as a minimum. Beyond that, they would then require Chengdu to lose to Hangzhou and Valiant next week and also go 2-2. So that sounds like it's probably not going to happen. Guangzhou, though, is in a completely different boat. They need to win this game and every other game. They are only on 3 points. They have to overtake New York and Hangzhou, who are on 7 points each. And Guangzhou have to win every single game from here on out, including this one. And you know what? Shanghai, they're not holding back because they're running their full starting lineup. No Develop, no Molly, no Who Are You. This is all 6 of Shanghai starters. They're really going into this one saying, yeah, I might just eliminate you from the season now.
I mean, it would be a brutal way to do it to them, but like you said, they need to try to get that 3-0, so they're certainly going to be going out with everything that they possibly have. This is not a time for development. This is a time to find victory and in dominant fashion. Now, taking a look at our starting lineups, it's not going to be too much of a shock on either side. We've got Eileen and Choi Se-Wan yet again, who were a very solid DPS duo yesterday. Eileen in particular having some wonderful performances on the Hangzhou.
I'm going to give a bit of extremely strong copium here. This is some real back alley copium hidden in a presidential bunker kind of stuff. If Guangzhou can actually beat Shanghai today, and it is possible because other teams have proven, and you'll say, and I'll say as well, Shanghai maybe didn't play super well in those series, but now's the time because guess what? Guangzhou have Valiant and Hangzhou next week. Those are winnable games. There is a real world. Guangzhou go 3-1 in Countdown Cup qualifiers, and then go to the Countdown Cup, and then win at least maybe 1 bonus point, and then you will have your 5th seed, play-ins locked in. Guangzhou Charge have the possibility to do this. I am C3PO right now. You are Han Solo, and you are saying, never tell me the odds, but here are the odds, and you're going to try and pilot your way through this, whatever it is, that's through the asteroids and the whatevers, to get to that thing. If this is the 1 in 14 million, it is possible. I can literally see, with my telescope right now, the way for Guangzhou Charge to still make the play-ins, but they must win today. There's no excuses.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what they can get done here, but like you said, I mean, schedule-wise, Guangzhou Charge, if they can get this one out of the way, then it seems like, a surefire thing that they would be able to take those other 2 series. We'll find out, though. They certainly have their work cut out for them. We'll see if they can find their groove like we saw from them yesterday. I like Choi Se-Wan having a bit of fun in the lobby. Obviously, you guys can't see it, but he's asking, "Hey, where's Develop at?" Just to check
I'm sure they would love it. I'm sure they would love to develop it right now. In fact, he'd be saying, "Hey, do you want to just run Develop Who Are You and Molly at the same time? That'd be good. I mean, let's make this a fair match after all."
Yeah. Well, Not going to be seeing him at least to begin, but we kind of don't really expect to see him throughout this set because, like we said, Shanghai, they need to take this, and it needs to be done very cleanly if they want to have that opportunity to go back to Hawaii, air quotes all around that. But starting things off, we're going to be on Lijiang Tower. So with two Chinese organizations, we'll see which one gets a slightly better home field advantage.
That's true. That's true indeed. I don't know where physically Lijiang Tower is in the Overwatch universe.
I think it is in Shanghai.
Well, there you go.
I could be wrong about
Question
that.
answered. Well, I mean,
I was thinking that in my head. I'm like, well,
we're finished.
It's over. It's done. And off the bat, we got to pause.
Yeah, a little bit of time to think about this. We had a bit of a preview of the comps, though. I am seeing Orisa comps coming on through from both sides. I'm seeing the possibility of maybe the Eileen Farah, which I don't even think he's meant to be playing on the team, even though I said yesterday it seems like he should because he's the projectile player, but Choice of One has been the guy playing the Farah. I don't even know if they want to play the Farah. Doesn't seem like their thing, especially yesterday. It didn't really go well.
Sure.
I also got to say that I think yesterday, and you were there as well, obviously we both cast that game, but yesterday's matchup versus Chengdu was fairly winnable for Guangzhou Charge, which says two things. One is that maybe today's doable because Chengdu were a very good team. And second, if they do lose to Shanghai today, especially if it's a poor loss, you're going to have to look back at the Chengdu game and be like, man, that could have been the one. That maybe should have been the one to at least secure Guangzhou a 3-1 and the pathway, that 114 million to get into the play-ins, because they are very far behind and they need every inch that they can get. They need to turn these inches into miles immediately.
Like I said, pressure certainly mounting for them. We'll see if they can get it done as the pause is gone. So we will go ahead and get back into here and start seeing what these teams are going to be running. Already talking about, what we can kind of anticipate. So for now, looking like a lot of Orisa.
4, 3,
which for Control Center seems standard.
Round 1.
And we're not going to see any, ball meta stuff until we get to the further sub-maps. Our team's going to be running the maps as well. Yeah, double hit scans. To be fair, Shanghai Dragons learned the hard way yesterday versus Seoul. So both teams now looking towards it.
Getting some nice dinks in. Altogether has multiple people there. Barriers keeping them protected, though. Otherwise, we'd be seeing these Helix rockets get a massive amount of value. Clear back angle, though, in onto Krong will demech him. Karif has already fallen after the Immortality Field was used. And that's just going to be the Shanghai Dragons winning out this first fight and capping the point.
Yeah, you know it's going to be a bit of a DPS diff today when both Lip and Flitter are just above 20k per damage in that specific fight. Yeah, it's going to be a peak of damage, but they are just rolling through Rio. Krong, they're going to go down early and the rest will follow. I mean, I think Korea was actually the first one down, so mostly healing's gone at that stage. Deadeye's already farmed up, Lip's ready to go.
Yep, he is certainly situated. Let's see what kind of value he can find. Deadeye popped. Waiting it out, lets it go. Doesn't find too much of anything, though. The back end, however, they will be able to collapse upon Eileen. Get that kill. Stun briefly out onto Krong. Rally now rolling. Mondu trying to keep them in the fight. Tac Visor be Tac Visor. Trace comes in. Void just trying to get that peel. Shoves Choice they want away from his team for quite some time. Buys them enough space. And Fleta finish off Mondu with the Helix Rocket. So it seems like, right back into the choke point. Shanghai Dragons just maintaining control.
And now Izaki has the Amplification Matrix advantage here as well, so it's going to be very difficult to Charge to make anything happen. And I mean, Shanghai were always going to have the ultimate advantage. After winning the neutral, they're going to be way further hit in ults, and they can match everything. Fate can now supercharge her as well. A Charge, they have to respect this. I don't think Charge should actually attempt at all. They're going to lose as much time as it will require, and pray that they'll have enough to walk back in afterwards.
Well, now they can try to regress. Okay, they'll set the self-destruct in fairly deep. Everybody just going to be hiding out in the hallways, though. Bit of damage being exchanged out. Now self-destruct to answer. Goes well into the back. Supercharger going to be the only casualty, but Rio is quick to follow, and Krong actually does get demeched there as well by that explosion. Very nicely done by Void. They just chase right back into the choke point. It feels like I'm watching like a classic Lijiang May comp where you just hold the door, wall somebody off when they walk in, but it's not the case at all. But they're just playing it so aggressively and so well split right now. And it's working out beautifully.
I mean, Deadeye here, I mean, I don't even know. Okay, Deadeye from both sides. It's a decent punish. Lijiang, I think, might have had his shield cracked, or he just dropped the shield for whatever reason. Izaki didn't expect him to die, so didn't even drop the lamp. Rio going for the final touch, and this is a classic Shanghai, just going to be able to tempo out the Guangzhou Charge. Final attempt with the window.
Window now going to be matched. Izuyaki popping his own. Choice wants here with the Doom Fist, and Fate will fall. Suddenly a second lease on life potentially. Krong, however, gets eliminated, so there's nobody to mitigate this damage as the bet that comes through from the attack fires that Fleta has just now built up. He pops it. He's looking for some targets. Runs around the corner. Will get shield bashed for just a moment. And Choice A1 comes in from the side with the Doom. Gets that rocket punch. Follows up on the Izuyaki. And yeah, the hubris here from the Shanghai Dragons. Lee Jae-gon. It all comes back to that Deadeye kill onto him. They lose that on one of their supports. And then they just force their way right back into this point to the Guangzhou Charge. They finally get this flip.
I think, yeah, they were just not expecting Lee Jae-gon to die there, but they, they still had ultimates available. Lee Jae-gon comes back in. Izuyaki responds to Kareev's at Matrix with his own, except Izuyaki's, it's a solo window, and he can use it. Now, Guangzhou Charge need to try and snowball as much as possible. They'll get this fight for free. Back a rally.
Yep, Void just completely broken out of it. Gets eliminated. Hulk pulls them together. Seismic Slam is massive. Lee Jae-gon is dead. Fades off the side of the map. And Guangzhou Charge now very much in the driver's seat. They've got this armor from the rally for just a bit longer. And I mean, they're just looking to treat the Dragons very much the same way that they've been treated themselves. From Eileen, just keeping them zoned back. Wall comes up at a perfect opportunity to try to keep them alive, but Choice A1 hit with a left click
that's
kill.
so deep.
Gets a headshot onto Izuyaki. Yeah, he is going in very well deep. Seismic Slam not going to find anything, but he manages to exit with a rocket punch, and Lip falls down. They keep this fight going. Bomb to the back. Shield gets raised. Korean will get picked off, and Krong again going to be D-maxed. That's going to be the big opening that they were looking for. They dive in. They find Choice A1. Void just seemingly putting the team on his back. Says, get behind me. We're retaking this point. We are not taking this to 99%.
Whoa.
Krong will not be allowed to remech. Void continues to pick up kill after kill, and now the OT is going to start bleeding away. Rio pushing down off the stairwell, but the Deadeye will finish him off. And I mean, it's a nice little turnaround from the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but it seems like 69% is as good as it's going to get. So Control Center will be closed out here by the Dragons in the end.
And that's the thing, man. I mean, you can hold the spawn. You don't want to go too far beyond the spawn doors for what it's worth, which is why Choice A1 going Meteor Striking in seems a little weird. You typically want to hold Meteor Strike defensively. Beyond that, though, I mean, great plays by Fleta. The wall destroys it, stops any attempt for Eileen to get value on the Deadeye. It's Void, though, who gets the real damage done. Self-destruct, throws it into the lobby, finds two, including the mech of Krong, and then beyond that, gets two final blows, stops Krong from remeching. I mean, Void just did everything in that last fight and just completely annihilated. Guangzhou Charge is positioning to get a turnaround. It was starting to look like a real turnaround, but we got to reset now, back into the aggressive compositions. Now one's going to go towards the ball, and these neutrals are so important. Remember, Shanghai got an incredible amount of tempo off the neutral when they snowballed very hard.
Well, no. Straight back in for Night Market. Shots come flying.
Choi on Tracer.
Yep. Changes it up just a little bit. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded if he, just stuck there with the Doom Fist. It was overall pretty clean. Meteor Strike, the only big complaint I guess you could really press about it. Otherwise, it was a solid look. Eileen, however, comes around the side. This back angle pinch comes in. They manage to find Lip, but Fleta will get Choice A1, nailing him with the Helix Rockets. Gets rid of that Tracer. Eileen tries to get that break on the Void's mech, but he's unable to do so. Flashbang will find two. Immortality Field is going to be drawn out, but Mandu is yet another casualty on the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Points still not capped by either side, but it's certainly going the way of the Shanghai Dragons as they close out the fight.
And that's weird, because, I mean, Eileen even got the McFlank to get the first McKill there to open up the fight, and it wasn't enough, apparently. It's a little bit upsetting. He'll even have Deadeye by now. I mean, Lip is quite far behind. So even with a 6v5, it just seems like Shanghai Dragons cannot be moved off. And they technically win the opening again, which is going to give them a massive rally advantage. I mean, compare that difference. Going to give them the slightly earlier window. The only thing that we can really see here is Choi, if he lands a great pulse bomb, will be able to open up this fight again.
Just 2% until he's got it. Void playing forward. Fleta dead. I mean, pulse bomb be damned. He can just pop Fleta on the face. Gets the kill, follows up for Void. Getting rid of that baby demon, and it seems like this time around it should be the Guangzhou Charge establishing control of this point.
Rally canceled?
Significantly sooner. Rally does get canceled, as you say. Big overreach there from Lee Jae-gon. Another bit of a blunder. Popping it there after suffering so many losses. Fleta now trying to exit. Seems like he will be safe enough for now. Wants to give over that healing to Izuyaki, and Lee Jae-gon try to get those ults pumping through. But only 45% this time around for the Shanghai Dragons. Now they have to retake.
Yeah. I tell you what, that choice of one play gives you some real melee vibes from Charge as well, where Choi was hard carrying on that Trace. I knew and I felt that he's probably going to be the only real member to get something done, probably off the pulse, doesn't even need it. Gets 2 frags. Fleta has a Visor now. I think Fleta might want to change soon, but the Visor's good for now. We'll see if he uses it.
Rally's rolling, so he's going to have a harder time getting much of that damage pushed through. Mortality field as well eliminated. Jedi finding nothing for Lip. Supercharger.
They can't even use it.
Yeah, they just gotta. Now they try to place out. Choice one. He melee kills Fleta yet again, just going in, getting these. I assume the one clips into the melee, finds the kill, and that's gonna be the Charge, establishing a lead now here on Night Market. Choice one continues to play forward and just harass them out. Fate barely escapes with just a sliver of HP. Will get topped back up steadily. But it's another very nicely won fight for the Charge.
I mean, I thought that was going to be a Supercharger Visor fight. That, to me, sounds like the natural combo.
Yeah.
Fleta probably wants to use this. He still hasn't used it. Now they have to dodge self-destruct. Izuyaki said that's not ideal.
Yeah, they already find it. They got split up. Now straight into Fate's back. Goes Choice A1. Pulse Bomb goes out. Fate goes down. Try to dive in. Fully doing his damage, but he just cannot harass him. Yeah, Choice A1 is just absolutely running away with the lobby right now. Void will be able to escape and keep that mech intact. He does have the self-destruct available. It's that in a window. All that the Dragons have to work with, and they haven't touched the point since they lost it.
And now this is the real test. Charge need to clutch on out and win when they're supposed to, because they are ahead. They're going to have more ultimates. They'll have a supercharge. As long as they can dodge Void's bomb and Izuyaki's window, they can get this.
Okay, well, they dive into the back this time, kind of predicting where Choice A1 is going to be coming from. They keep everybody protected. And Lip, in the meantime, breaks down the front line. Eileen and Mandu now going to be gone. Rio trying to pile in behind this barrier. So, yeah, I mean, this flip will come in, but it's still going to be, time very much on the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Their main concern is going to have to be this ult economy that Shanghai Dragons is building.
It's momentum. I mean, yeah, okay, it's 40-something to 99. That's not the part I care about, though. I care about who's in the lead as far as momentum goes and has the ultimates. That's what ends up winning you a control map at the end of the day. And with these extra ultimates, you're going to need to see this one go the distance. I don't think Charge can get this until it goes 99 both ways. It's going to be down to the OT for sure. Unless Kareev does the best window ever and Choi gets another solo frag on the... I mean, Fleta's not on a soldier anymore, so that's no longer a freebie. Choi's going to have to work harder for these kills.
If the Dragons can have as strong of a defense as we just saw from the Charge, keep them off this points. Immortality Field's going to be exchanged. Fleta gets on top of Eileen, manages to find one. And the hammer breaks down the barriers. They push up. They look to get Kwong and Kareev. Yep, and that is going to be Kareev gone. Backcap is starting to come in, but they will pull away for the points. Just Choice A1 doing what he can, but his team, they got broken down a little bit faster than anybody have anticipated, so no chance to sneaky little steal away.
So Shanghai they can window bongo now. You've got the supercharge plus Ant Matrix, so much damage. There's not even going to be a touch. Forget about it. Not even worth talking about. It's just done. It's over.
Next map. Go to the next map.
I knew it was going to go to OT, and in my mind I was thinking, it'll be a really good OT fight. We're going to go to double 99s. Yeah, super intense. Maybe Charge can spin it back around. They'd have to make some incredible plays and dodge around the Supercharger and Ant Matrix. But, well, we will be denied that. We are going to not have that happen. And I did expect that Fleta was going to remove the soldier and go off the soldier eventually on towards Tracer. And, I mean, from that point onwards, Choi just didn't have this clear target that he wanted to go on. And I think everyone else is slightly more difficult. Or at least that's what it seems. And as soon as Shanghai Dragons had that momentum flip, like I said, I didn't care about the 40-something%. I care about who has the momentum. And Shanghai had the momentum. They carried that through all the way.
Yep. Well, they end up taking it 2-0 with a major blunder at the very end. It seemed like maybe the Charge would have been able to make it happen, would have been able to take us to yet another round to try to see what would happen on Gardens, but not to be. Instead, we're going to be getting ready to go into map number 2 in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere, guys. The action will continue in just a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, we are back, guys. It is time to jump into our second map here in our final series. Havana coming up for Escort after the Shanghai Dragons were able to take a 2-0 win on Lijiang Tower over the Guangzhou Charge. Decent amount of back and forth, though, Avril. Seems like, especially on that first round, a little bit of hubris at play for the Shanghai Dragons. Li Jigon gets caught with his pants down, dives to the Deadeye, and then suddenly the Guangzhou Charge have the point, and it seemed like a very similar situation there on Night Market as well, but Shanghai Dragons, they get it in the end.
I mean, jokes on Li Jigon. I don't wear pants to start with, so you can never catch me with them down. The point they want to get to was, I don't even know if that was really too much hubris. It's spawn camping on Lijiang. It's pretty normal. Control center especially. You just want to make sure you're not really leaving the control doors and going all the way to spawn. Now, that would be kind of hubris. Beyond that, though, you're right. It was pretty back and forth. It was a lot more competitive than you'd probably think on paper. I will say one thing, though. I don't know if we did say it was a C9 or not, but I think Rio did get booped off the point as he was attempting to touch. So as the arbiters of the C9, I think we're going to give that one a no. It's not a C9. So there you go.
Of course, C9.
They can have that. They can have that going for them. They might not have the map, but they can have that. Moving onwards, though, I think the good news still is that Guangzhou, they can be down maps as long as they win the series. The problem is it's looking like it's going to be rough to try and win the series because Shanghai, they're on form today, as you'd expect, after losing twice in the starting. And Shanghai, by the way, also know that they need to maximize points because while they're going straight to Texas after this and can just go to Arlington whenever they want, they're guaranteed in the playoffs. They are still racing the field as far as getting overall first seed for the entire playoffs across all 20 teams. So Shanghai don't want to drop the ball the final minute and lose points and allow Fuel to overtake them.
Yeah, certainly not. So like we said, 3-0, very much what they are after right now. And I mean, if it's going to be as competitive as that first map, then maybe it's not going to be plausible for them to be able to close this out cleanly. Because Guangzhou Charge, I mean, they showed it yesterday. They're showing it today so far. Like, they are absolutely hungry to get these wins. And they definitely have the capability to do it. It's just, the stars, they're not quite aligned. One is slightly off to the left. It's a little skewed. But it's so close to being there for everything to be in place for them to be able to take these maps and take these series. So we'll see how they fare as we get ready to move forward into Havana, as well as what the Shanghai Dragons are going to have prepared for us. Which is all Fleta, running with the Soldier 76, was kind of just getting hard, farmed there by Choi Se-wan, especially on Night Market, just continuously getting in there, killing him. As soon as he swaps over to the Tracer, we see a bit of an improvement and a bit more consistency from Fleta. So I'm curious if they just do that off the bat or if they have something completely different that they want to have prepped for us.
It's going to be Hangzhou, and that's good for Eileen. The reason it will be Hangzhou is because both teams will run Orisa again. This is an Orisa map. So what is it going to be? Eileen, Fleta, Hangzhou. Lip Choi can play either Sombra or McCree works as well. It won't be double hit scan. I think you'd be making a mistake if you didn't go Hangzhou here. And I think that is a very good place for Guangzhou Charge to maybe attempt a bit of a comeback here, where Eileen had one of the most phenomenal Hangzhou performances that we saw yesterday, and he is going to have to repeat that again today.
Well, see if he can. Right now, I mean, starting on the defense, Eileen and Choi Se-wan, that Hangzhou is there. Looks like it's going to be the Tracer. Flashed the McCree for just a second, so I was like, oh, it is a double head scan, but they change it up. Go for what we can kind of expect a little bit more. I have to keep my eyes on Void here to see if this is just going to be an initial hook attempt. I assume it's just going to be an initial hook, but it's certainly not going to be the Reinhardt.
By the way, you can actually still spawn camp on Havana. I've seen one team do it in this Korea where you play the fire defense and you just spawn camp with the fire, so it's not quite the Rhine brawl kind of thing. But these teams are going to be a little bit more risk adverse, and they're going to try that. And actually, Shanghai are not going to even play Orisa. They're going to try and do this on the ball.
Okay. Changing it up a bit. Saw it in our first series. A decent amount of the Wrecking Ball coming through from the attacking side, so let's see how it goes. I mean, Fate has basically long since established himself as the best ball in the region, but Li Jigon, the first one to get picked off here. Strong finding that kill as the cart rounds the first corner. And well, into the back, Izayaki is all on his lonesome. He dies.
This is like excellent timing from Charge because you have both Lip and Fate on the back lines. They're very hard flanked, and Guangzhou Charge have like a free 6v4 timing, which they go towards. And now there's a possible cleanup here. If they demec Void, that would be even better for them as long as Eileen... Okay, Eileen does die. She's not great.
Okay.
That's a risk now.
Yeah. Flooded now with 2 kills. Garib just going to get absolutely obliterated there as Fate will follow up for a second. That's the support line gone. Eileen going to have to try to run back in. Fleta narrowly avoiding death. To stay safe, to get rid of Krong, and that should be point A snatched up here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Very nicely done. Just over a minute for them to get the cap, and now just over 5 minutes to make it through the next part.
Well, that's unfortunately fell apart quickly for Charge. I mean, they had a reasonable advantage. Again, they found a great 6v4 timing, but as Shanghai started reinforcing and respawning there, especially with Eileen falling down first, it falls apart fast, the Guangzhou Charge, and that should have been a longer hold on towards A, and they're going to have to hope for a better one over towards B. It's a very 50-50 fight, and that means both teams are going to have opportunities to find these ultimates. Choi is now going to be able to mark Fleta as well, so both pulses online, and both traces should be making a play.
Eileen just getting poked out there to about half. Krong goes forward to try to keep Lip honest, but he's happy to translocate out, just go for a slight little reset, and then try to get into a pole position for this EMP. Griv with the Transcendence, is going to have that. Hack goes out onto the tanks. Fleta falls. Krong actually gets that elimination. Quite nicely done as Fate will just be dropping the minefields out onto the high ground, trying to keep everybody zoned into an awkward position. Rio, as he tries to exit, goes right into one of said mines, and he will get dropped. Now they'll push inside. D-Mech Krong, he's just going to hold on to that self-destruct, but I mean, this is looking like an absolute steamroll right now for the side of the Shanghai Dragons.
And Shanghai is scouting forward as well. This is most likely going to be a cap. Now you're retaking with an Orisa. It's just not going to happen. The worst part about this Achilleos is B is not good for Ball. That is probably Ball's worst part of the map for Havana across both A, B, and C. C is much better now for Ball, so unfortunately, the best place for Guangzhou to hold has now passed, and beyond that, they're just going to snowball further. Rio's already dead.
Whoop. All right, well, Izayaki at least does get forced to go into the Transcendence, given the Dragon Strike. Doesn't want to die, so let's pop that. Gets one of the cooldowns out of the way, and obviously they don't have much to bank on here when it comes down to support ult charge. So there's a window of opportunity for some stability if Mondo can have a nice rally, and Korea can continue to build up steadily towards that next Transcendence.
Okay, well, that's... It should be the other way around. I mean, if you looked at yesterday's game, Eileen was the guy doing that. He's going to, again, he needs to... I mean, it's not just all Eileen. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't have to be Eileen's job. Really, everyone in Charge has got to step up, but we know what Eileen's capable of. EMP's on the line. Now, there's a lot of ultimates for the Guangzhou Charge, and it's hard for them to engage because they're running Orisa at this part of the map. There's nothing wrong with the Orisa per se, but they are losing a lot of momentum, and they have 0 tempo currently. This EMP is going to rake across, and you need to see Mandu probably go for a rally soon. It's a good kill on Fleta, though.
Oh, Kareem. Oh, no. With that kill on the Fleta, he actually just got the Transcendence online and then gets hacked and killed off. Fortunately for the Charge, he's the only casualty so far in the back end of the EMP. As Eileen did get Lip with the Storm Arrows. This will pick off, and, well, Izayaki's in no man's land. Minefield's still going to be committed to this fight here by Fate, and it's not playing around the carts, so they can just pull away from these mines and be like, all right, cool, we'll just continue to defend at the main archway.
That's actually incredibly good for Charge here because EMP was expended. Okay, Kareem dies, sure, but they got the trade. Eileen got the kill. And because of that, now they're in a defendable state. And this is where they can actually put their foot down and say, no more. The distance for the payload will go no further. More kills, more slowdown for Shanghai.
Fate dead. Self-destruct doesn't find any kills, but make sure that no one can come to the Wrecking Ball's rescue as Eileen just sends out a straight little shot. That's Lee gone eliminated. Lip will find Choice A1, however, making Izayaki probably breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that he's not going to be at risk of getting flanked anymore.
Every single one of these frags from Eileen is just slowdown. Okay, Krong needs to make sure he doesn't get demec'd.
Oh! Well, Dragon Strike consumed there by Void. Noms that one off. Rally's going to be rolling in response from both of these squads as the Shanghai Dragons now have a window of opportunity to advance back forward. Pulse Bomb goes out. Izayaki, he's got the Transcendence, keeps himself alive. Karib now going to be matching. Dragon Strike crashing across from the flank. Fleta looking to try to catch them off guard, but... Or Lip, rather, trying to catch him off guard. Doesn't lead to too much. Fleta himself, though, speaking of him, right up front, nearly has a pulse online. either support is going to be a prime target. That being said, Izayaki, targeted by Mondu, will go down. Pulse Bomb goes out. It's
very even.
I believe actually already eliminated, yeah. Mondu traded out, but no supports are here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons. And it's a considerably closer run back if you're on the side of the charge. Cart inching forward. Somebody's going to have to contest pretty soon, but the ball arrives. It's going to be a nice pile driver as Flooded will get finished off by Choice A1. And Void, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on to this max. D-Matrix will buy a little bit of extra time. He'll push the corner. He's trying to get it so desperately, but can't quite nail the Diva.
That may be the map-winning play just then from the Shanghai Dragons, because you'll notice the payload was only 5 meters away from the end of the map. They probably won't cap here. I think it would be quite difficult for Shanghai to finish this cap now with the remaining time. But they have great distance. Even without the supports, they were always going to lose that fight because they have no supports. You simply can't win that fight. You're not going to sustain versus respawners, but you can maximize distance, and that's good enough. So now we'll see if Shanghai can, just make a last attempt, join the back line.
Oh no,
It's a double.
Michigan. He tried to dash away from the rest of his squad, but instead he went right over to Lip. Now Fate falling, and this is a great little fight there. Great scouting, great kills from Choice A1 as Void, just going to be dropping to his doom. And Choice A1 says, well,
That's worth.
my recall is not up, so goodbye.
He actually getting the guaranteed kill feed on Void's mech means he got all of that ult charge. He just expended a pulse bomb. He's on 41 again, so that death is 100% worth. Good play.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's just no way that anybody from Shanghai was going to be recontesting as well before he comes back in, so wonderfully done. Just didn't quite have the recall to get himself back up onto solid ground, but still makes the best play that he possibly could. Flutta, I mean, he's just kind of flipping through the playbook right now. Goes over to the far out.
Flitter's best looks 2021.
Yeah. Well, he's dealing with Eileen. Well, he was dealing with Eileen. Void will actually just obliterate him with that self-destruct. Flutta not having to worry about that pesky Hangzhou. Just turns his sights onto the rest of the squad. Rio ulting him back in, gets a smattering of damage in. But, I mean, Rio's just completely zoned off now. He gets finished by Fletta. He can just continue to apply pressure to both of these exits.
They need the
ball
traps.
rolls in. The pile driver, it's not going to be enough. Prong instantly gets annihilated. Transcendence now rolling as everybody is ready. They get to pinch it onto the Zenyatta. Pulse Bomb comes out. Lip dodges away, but Izayaki still does manage to fall to that. Storm Arrow's not going to get the kill on the Choice A1. The pocket healing comes through onto Lip. Lee-Jae-Gon just keeping the Hangzhou topped up. Mondu eliminated. Izayaki's going to be swapping over onto the Moira. They're off the cart here for just a moment. They go back in. Rio's going to be demeched. Eileen, Dragon Strike, going to be used from spawn to try to clear this out. Fate runs through it. He's so very low. Healing comes in right on the back of the res, but Fate still will fall. Choice A1 finds that kill. It's down to 1 HP and will get finished off as Flooded gets a very nice direct hit onto the top of Kariv's head. And it seems like that should be the end of it now that there's a barrage online as well. He'll dash back over. He pops it, but he's actually leading to his own death.
Just Rio.
Puts up quite a bit of damage, but yeah, it's just Rio. A pop out there does come through. Choice A1 touches back in, has to recall off, but the card can glide through. But I mean, man, what a just a wild, unending fight. They end up getting drained all the way down to 0 in the time bank after, I mean, just steamrolling their way through to point B. So good time buying there by the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but unfortunately they cannot put a clear win condition on the board by successfully defending.
But the thing is, they were so close to getting that win condition. If you noticed before it all fell apart, and it all falling apart was when Fleta changed the fire, Shanghai started pushing into the gates, and then slowly one by one they were dying because they're getting picked off. At that exact moment, or let's say like 3 seconds before that moment, if you looked at the Guangzhou Charge's ultimates, everyone was like 1%, 5%, 10% away. So they were moments away from securing a lot of good ultimates to get into a defendable position. And I think the expectation that Charge should have held that positioning is 100% valid in the sense that I think the string of kills that Shanghai got, I mean, they're Shanghai, they're going to have the mechanical ability to get those, but Charge, it's like they dropped the ball. I mean, I'm not too sure. The Transcendent ended up coming through when Kareem respawns, but then he can't save Rio, who just dies in the ball, and it all falls apart because they can't line up their respawns together anymore. It's an OT, so in the OT, when your respawns are slow, they just couldn't quite get their plays together, and despite having ultimates eventually coming online, there's just no value there, because even Mandu respawns, okay, he's got a rally, but for who? It's like for himself. So it's just, they get snowballed. They got snowballed by Fleta's Farah, a few really good picks, Lips there as well, on that Hangzhou doing so much, and Guangzhou in the final hour when they should have held, they don't hold, and that could cost them the map now because capping Havana, easier said than done.
Certainly is. Sticking with much of the same here. There's Lip into the back right now. Wide angle, doesn't want to risk it. Needs to be able to see Eileen's projectiles coming. So if he pulls back, he's got a little bit more of a reaction time before he gets domed by the arrows. Just goes for a quick little peek out.
Shanghai is setting up for a kill box here. You'll see that they're playing the left-right strategy, so there's at least one playing greenhouse that is currently Fate. Green building, whatever it is. And, the crossfire is working. Manda's already dead.
Yeah, pushing up. They're trying to outpressure Rio. Tips back inside. Void just charging through. Falls down to about half HP. Fate as well. Could be much better off as far as the HP bars are concerned, but it seems like Void will manage to retain the mech and offer up quite a bit of ult charge here to his supports.
So you need to see...
Testing the limits here.
I mean, Choi's too far away from Pulse Bomb. It's going to have to be an Eileen headshot or something. The good news is, for the charge, there is not going to be an EMP from Lip just yet. Flitter's really far ahead in Pulse, you expect that to come on through. They need to decide, they being charged here, decide that they got to focus left or right. They need to try and win one of these fights on either side.
Dragon Strike through. Eileen finds Flood up. A solid opening. Kariv going to be using that Transcendence, but it's not going to be enough. Krong's still going to be demeched, and Mondu finished off on the back end of that Transcendence expiring. Now charging forward, they're looking to get the rest of these kills in. Lee Ching-Han will have them. Gets the baby Diva, gets Rio, and yeah, there you go. Successfully held, as they just wait for Fate to come rolling back in with that minefield at the ready.
And this strategy that Shanghai are deploying, which again is very standard on a map like Havana, this, you're covering both sides of the street here, is no matter what side Charge choose, if they choose to go left, they choose to go right, the other side has a really good crossfire into it. That's going to be difficult. Ultimates are slowly coming in, but because Shanghai won the neutral, they have more ultimates. So it only gets harder from here because EMP is now a factor, and Kriv does not have a trance, it's already been used.
Dashing around. Void is going to be sending out self-destruct into the back. Miner's got shield raised, but Ching-Han just gets in on top of Eileen. Pulse Bomb is there. Choice A1 does manage to trade one back, getting rid of the supports, but Izayaki, crucially, he's already been armored up. He's going to be sitting pretty there. Knows that he is not that susceptible to damage anymore. And on the back of the EMP, they will pile in, find the Tracer, find the Diva, and just about everybody else alongside them as the Shanghai Dragons are just feasting for this full hold. But yeah, the DMEC could prove to be a bit challenging.
Yeah, now you got a guaranteed 6 of E5.5, I guess now.
Well,
even better than that because Lip's down, so this is the best moment. The issue here is, even if and when I suspect that Charge win this fight, look at the time. You have to finish the whole map here.
Yeah, it's not going to be great. Would have to just, kick it into, Mach 5 as they get ready to go into
Pretty
the
much.
If they can make that happen. Izayaki, however, will get pinched. He gets eliminated. And that Transcendence available. Wants to try to hold on to it. Seems like he's going to be confident in his team to be able to try and extend this into a last hold. Choice A1 gets hacked by Lip, gets finished off after we see that pulse eaten by Krong. Void going to be demeched yet again. Bit of a rough position to be in here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, who want to get this full hold, but you said could be an OT hold for them. They're going to be looking for it. So
Charge have to burn both holds. They're going to have to burn everything.
Okay, Void, he's pistol his way back in the mech. Transcendence going to come out, try to top Fate up. The Discord Orb not going to be enough to try to out-damage that. Pulse Bomb from Choice A1 doesn't manage to find a kill. Mondu hacked for the moment. But he gets himself into the back line, takes a considerable amount of damage, forced to use the recall. Supercharger now going to be destroyed. It's just 0.52 meters left to go for the Charge to get a second lease on life, but their front line is being broken down. Rio dead, Krong going to be melted out of the mech. Izayaki is gone, and nobody can touch the cart. The Shanghai Dragons will full hold the Guangzhou Charge, setting themselves up now at match point.
And now all of the discussion, had earlier about whether Charge could have held C, whether they, whatever happens there and how that could have gone, it's entirely pointless. It's a moot point now because they don't even get past A. And that's the sad part is, I think even if they capped A Achilles, if they would have done it at OT, you have a total 4 minutes now to finish the rest of the map. Distillery in B is always going to be difficult. It's always slow. Orisa compositions are just going to be so. Now, I don't have a problem with Orisa composition, so I hope no one goes ahead and just says, oh, why are they playing Orisa? It seems like a bad It's not really. I just think Shanghai, a team that is going to be too much of a challenge today. And backs against the wall now for Guangzhou Chargers. They are going to have to look for the reverse sweep. It is looking pretty dire.
Yeah, I mean, we had one earlier, but significantly closer matchup between those two teams, just given the history and the records that we've seen. So yeah, I mean, Guangzhou Charge, they certainly have their work cut out for them, but by golly, would it be one of the strongest displays of mental fortitude that I've ever seen in my life if they could pull it off. We'll see what they can get done, or if they could even just, upset the Dragons by taking a map off of them, really harming their hopes of having that first seed overall in the league. We'll find out when we come back from the break, so don't go anywhere, guys. At least one more map coming at you in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
All right, we are back, and the end of this long evening of Overwatch APAC action may very well be coming to a close soon here, Avril. At least one more map to be played. It's going to be Hanamura to stand between the Shanghai Dragons closing this out cleanly with a 3-0, or the Guangzhou Charge netting themselves a win, or just, maybe extending this by another map if they can force a draw. Not sure, but either way, we'll be finding out momentarily as we get ready to go into that map.
Well, now that you've spoken into existence, why don't we just have a banger today? You would have done You could be doing, how many maps have you done? 5, 4, 4. So yeah, I mean, you could be doing like 13 maps today if there's a draw in here, you know?
Not bad.
Otherwise, you'd be doing 12 maps. Not bad. Yeah, I'll give that to you. Decent marathon of casting for you. But there is one last bit of hope now. Charge have the reverse sweep. That's it. Like I said at the beginning of this matchup, Charge must win today. And I'm not just talking about Countdown Cup. Forget about Countdown Cup. This is your season. Your entire season rests upon your ability to win this matchup. Because if you don't win here, even if you probably should beat Valiant in Hangzhou next week. Even if that happens, you're 2-2. That may not be a good enough scoreline to get into the Countdown Cup. Because Shanghai are also going to be 2-2. And New York are on 2-2. You have to beat these guys in a tiebreaker in terms of scorelines and all that. And then, you know, you have to go to the Countdown Cup to get the points. This match is super important for the Guangzhou Charge.
It is, and we will be seeing that change. It just popped up on your screen there. Molly stepping in over Izayaki. So still going to be seeing some changes from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. I mean, we were pretty well convinced that this was just going to be them sticking with the same 6 the whole way through, but they're deciding to throw a curveball here right in the that last map.
Moon's feeling good, so at this point, you know, look, Charge, this is your hope. They're not even playing their full roster anymore. This is your final hope. New York beat them. You've beaten New York before. Transitive properly. Let's work it out, Charge. You can do this.
The math adds up. I mean, you say Moon's feeling good. We'll see if he's still feeling good after this. I mean, not to, don't mean to sound like I'm discrediting Molly or saying that he's not a strong player at all. But, when you move away from Izayaki, given that, how strong he has been, how many people have been talking about him as a potential MVP candidate, somebody who really needs to be looked at on this roster as a linchpin for the success. It can be a little bit of a head scratcher because Izayaki has overall had a very strong series thus far, but deciding to make a little swap up, and we'll see if it works out for them in the end.
You got to get ready, man. If Moon feels really good, he's going to sub in SHD1, and that's when you got to get scared. So
he's just got to put himself in the game.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, we did joke like, maybe if Shanghai just run their entire backup line here, Charge will have the best shot possible. And what did Choi say once say this? He said no develop today. Is that what he said? So.
He was asking where Develop was.
Oh, he's asking where well, I mean, Develop might not be here, but they'll give him Molly instead. So you got to work your way through. So after this one, they'll sub Molly out, get Izayaki back in, but then they'll sub out like Flitter or something for Develop, and then, maybe Choi get his wish. But you're going to have to get past this map via a draw or a win. And they didn't quite get Temple of Anubis yesterday versus Chengdu, which I still think should have been a very winnable map for Charge, and will be one that they have to look back upon with a little bit of disappointment. This will be it though. This is going to be the important map that either gets them into the reverse sweep or ends their season. Don't mean to sound too dire or dramatic about it, but the standings don't lie.
Well, as that stat just said, last time they squared up, it was a 3-0. We'll see if it's going to be much the same. Well, the arrow there from Eileen does scout out everybody. It shouldn't come as too much of a surprise as far as what they're going to be running with. See how they try to approach breaking through. It looks like they're trying to find a dive onto Eileen. He successfully eludes that and actually will find Lib. They're the first kill on the map, so solid little start. Unfortunately, their efforts of getting the Hangzhou do not work out. And Molly's in a very awkward position. Yep.
He's actually in a really safe position because he's inside that little ramen shop, I think, and that's usually quite safe. And you can see that Charge's game plan here is they notice that Shanghai are rotating across the map, but not all their key team can try to rotate. So they're going to get the stragglers left behind the double doors, and similar to what we saw, I believe, on Havana, they're going to force a fight when they have a 6vX situation where Shanghai are split, and that's one way for them to navigate around Shanghai's ability and their desire to try and rotate. So actually well played by Charge.
Certainly slows them down. Minute going to be gone off the time bank now to start. Trying to jump his way into the back. Eileen under pressure, but the peel comes through. Prong there to protect. As Karif, oh man, just gets the hit. Takes out Molly. I think it might have been a halt forward back to get him in the line of sight. And his fate's just going to be crashing around. Picks up that Mega Pack. Krong, however, going to be demexed, and now all that peel, all that extra protection is gone. Void finishes him off, but Lee Jae-gon's going to be eliminated.
Ultimate's coming online.
Really get any kind of clean exchanges here, can the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, but Charge have like all these ults. They'll get Fade as well. Lip is very far behind on EMP. I don't think he's had much of a chance to charge his ult at all. So this is one of the slowest EMPs I've ever seen from him. In fact, it's nearly 2 minutes and he doesn't even have one. Normally he's had 2 by now. So this is very good in terms of slowing down specifically Lip. But you're on about 6 ultimates now. Charge, if they can snowball this fight forward and really try and ration out these ultimates properly, I can see them completing a full hold.
Well, Flip is trying
they
to
would have to dodge an
that
EMP
off.
too.
He's in the back line. Dragon Strike is going to be used. Since that's straight across the front, Molly is gone. No way to escape from it, it would seem. Good tracking there from Eileen, prepared for where he's going to be. Lip just using that EMP, manages to catch 3. Karif going to be one of them. Goes down without being able to use a Transcendence, so a bit of a window of opportunity now to get themselves onto the point and continue ticking up. They're already just about halfway there with less than a minute and a half remaining. Molly looking to rejoin the fight. We'll have that Transcendence for an extended exchange, but I mean, they've just had to pull back. They have to be able to escort it forward.
And look at Charge, they still have double support ultimates. Yeah, the EMP landed well, but you didn't really force much out. You got Karif down, and now they can use everything.
Yeah, I mean, Molly, forced to use that Transcendence. Self-destruct going to be used by Krong as he gets knocked out of the mech. Fate gonna fall. Karif finds that kill. They can potentially still try to recontest this here.
They have to.
Get advanced forward far enough. Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to go for it. They get the entry onto the point from Krong. Transcendence comes in to make sure that the Diva can stay in the mech. Keeping alive for a little bit longer. Self-destruct now going to be used by Void. Throws it into the back.
Pulse.
Explosion won't find anything, but Rio is just completely stuck in the corner. They manage to get that elimination. Void kind of getting beaten and battered around, pulls back. D-Matrix goes up as he tries to stay safe, but he eats the Pulse Bomb. Void, a huge play from him. Still loses out of the mech, however. Karib now going to find Flood Up. Fate going to be taken down as Eileen finds 2 in the back end of this fight. The tank line is completely busted, and now it's just Lip and Molly, the only ones alive as they wait to respawn. They've already found Lip. Pretty sure he still has the translocator to try to jump out of here, but actually, no, he does not.
He's trying to maximize time to get this EMP up because that's the only hope left for Shanghai Dragons outside of a Pulse. This is so doable for Charge. They have failed to clutch so many times. Charge, this is the time where you have a full hold in front of you. Surely Charge can clutch this one out and complete a full hold.
All right, well, they do get the touch to force out the OT. The EMP online for Lip just needs to get into a prime position. For even an extended fight, if he does not go down, can absolutely build up the Transcendence, and he is not going to get clipped by this. Flood is going to be the first one to fall. Eileen finding the kill. His Gold Orb goes out onto him. The pile driver looking pretty decent, but Fate has to exit, get himself top back up to rejoin into the fight. Rally now rolling from Mondu. That's going to keep Karif nice and healthy. The Pulse Bomb from Choice A1 not going to be able to find anything, but now Void is going to be D-maxed. They don't have that D-Matrix, and the baby Diva has already been killed off. Lee Jae-gon is eliminated. Molly is going to be gone. Transcendence does nothing to keep them in this fight, and Fleta cannot touch in time. It's going to be a full hold here by the side of the Guangzhou Charge. A Transcendence in celebration as they only give up 87.3% of point A.
Well played. Genuinely well played by the Guangzhou Charge. I mean, that is what I think everyone's been waiting for so long, where you have these extremely winnable positions. You set yourself up for success to get this W over here, and now you've at least got this hold. Now, it's not over, because they still need to attack into Shanghai, who are going to need to set up for their own full hold here. Could they be looking towards a Mercy? Could they be looking for maybe a Pharmacy composition, something like that? Because when you're playing only for A, that's where I see a lot of teams moving in, and Guangzhou are going to need to be ready for that. But, I mean, they played that first neutral so beautifully, where they saw the rotations, they played the 6vx, they got the advantages, they snowballed, had 6 ultimates, managed to dodge around the EMP. It was a little bit touch and go there because Lip still hit a decent few members, including Karif, who died. But Guangzhou Charge, they held steadfast, and then they got a good recontest. They also, by the way, had a reasonable read on how to give away percentage points to get a good retake, because you don't want to just throw members on there. You're like, okay, well, we can give them 2 ticks here, give away 2 ticks, maybe even let them get to as far as 90. They got 87, so it didn't even reach 90, and then go for a proper play with a small bit of ultimates maybe, and have a final attempt. Choi going absolutely off on the trace, and that's exactly what you want to see from Guangzhou, and now the opportunity there is there to get at least one map here.
Let's see if they can make it happen with this attack choice. They want to take into the skies. Fleta going to be matching. This is still a difficult task ahead of them. You know how well Fleta can play the Pharah. Just waiting for their moment right now. It's Fate considerably tagged up. It's going to be funneling quite a bit of charge into Molly here with the Ana.
It's interesting, by the way, that
the back.
Charge's response to this fire is to run their own pharmacy, and you know they're not going for the same strategy versus Chengdu, where they had the Zen, they had Aline going for the plays. Jagon may be in trouble here.
It was definitely a risky situation there. I mean, Choice I Want, he's been getting so many more rockets in. Up at 55% right now for this barrage. They're in onto the point, starting to tick up. I think Boyd gonna have to respond to that.
The nanos.
Yeah. Molly will have that. Let's see who the target is gonna be. Fate
Will be Flitter.
Yeah, falling low. I mean, you would anticipate unless he's got to try to save one of his other players' lives. Getting tagged up, and there you go. Yeah, Fate falling low. They throw the nano boost out onto him. Kariv's going to be dead. They can just push up, turn on the barrier to keep themselves sheltered a little bit longer. They will manage to clean up 3 kills and keep the point cleared. Still haven't been able to displace this pharmacy comp, though.
I have to say that Krong I expect to be the difference maker here, because Void, for whatever reason, is on a Roadhog when, especially versus, not that he has a choice by the way, current, because he doesn't know that Choi is going to go Farah, and he hasn't died yet, so he can't change. But yeah, if he could rewrite this, he would probably choose to go Diva because there is a pharmacy on the other side, which actually is maybe a good read by Choi saying, well, there's no Diva, I probably should go Farah here.
Oh, Rio turning his sights. He got a little distracted by Lip's low HP bar. Wanted to get that kill, can't manage to make it happen. Griv is going to be slept, as you say. They get the pull in. They're looking for the elimination. Immortality Field keeps him alive for a little bit longer, but Void will finish him off in the end. Rio, however, does find Lip. See if Lee Jae-gon can get into a nice position to try to bring that res through. They don't find Eileen, so decent amount of pressure going to be alleviated, and Kriv's just going to be swapping over onto the Moira now, and now thinks better of it, and goes back to his staple and namesake, Ana.
And there's ultimates here, but it's still risky for Choi to go for a barrage, by the way, because, I mean, sure, there's no Diva, but you can still get hooked.
Get the hook.
Flitter can still kill you, so it's pretty rough.
Rio
Good
goes
hook
in.
for Void.
Yeah, they get the pull there onto Rio. He pops the shield. He stays alive. Choice A1. Those are gorgeous shots. Bionate is out on the Void now, and he is going to be going down. Lee Jae-gon with the Valkyrie out. Will bring Flutter back into the mix, and yeah, Molly is going to be eliminated by the Dragon Strike. They're in onto the point. The first tick getting ready to arrive. They recontest for just a moment, but Lee Jae-gon is eliminated. It's all on Flutter. He's got a barrage, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do a damn thing with it. No, he won't even get to use it. Void, the only one up, is trying to come crashing through with this Wrecking Ball, trying to get the touch, but it's just not going to happen. The Guangzhou Charge will extend this series as they successfully attack on point A, making this 2-1.
That was legitimately a good map from Guangzhou. One of the best that I'd seen so far, and versus good competition as well. It's one of those situations where, I mean, they simply played to, they made the right decisions, played to the win conditions, really moved around and played around Shanghai's win conditions as well, and that was a well-deserved map. One of the few times, and given I haven't casted all the Guangzhou games, but all of the ones I have, that is one of the most convincing maps where, I mean, they made very few mistakes and just generally did all the correct things and clutched up when they were supposed to, win when they're supposed to, and recover from situations that started to look bad. I mean, this is the team that should have been here the entire time, and maybe it's a little bit here too late, but they've given us an extra map, and while Killiers, you're going to at least what, 13 maps tonight then?
Oh yeah, let's keep it going. Why the hell not? Well, Guangzhou Charge one step forward towards that reverse sweep. Let's see if they can take another one, or if the Shanghai Dragons end up closing it out. We'll go to a quick little break, guys. When we come back, we'll be headed to Hybrid. All right, once more into the breach we go. We are not done yet. That's right, we're not coming back for a game break. We're coming back for another map of play. It's 2-1 right now as the Guangzhou Charge were able to get a map win on Hanamura, holding off the Shanghai Dragons, only surrendering like 89%, then coming back in, closing it out on their attack. So now we get ready to go to Nambani to see if the Guangzhou Charge can keep things going as they try to pull off a reverse sweep.
That's what they're eyeing out currently, and with that map loss, by the way, from Shanghai, I mean, I think they lost the tiebreaker to NYXL anyway, but now they've definitely lost the tiebreaker, and possibly will lose every other tiebreaker to any other team that may or may not go 2-2 this stage, which basically means Shanghai are all but eliminated from Countdown Cup contention. But as a reminder, Shanghai don't need to go to Countdown Cup because they have more points than any other team in the league currently as it stands. They get to book their tickets to go to Texas for the playoffs no matter what happens today or this stage or this tournament. So Shanghai are pretty chill. They're okay with whatever result, although I'm sure they would still like to get more points than Dallas. That's kind of what they're playing for currently. Guangzhou opened themselves up for the potential of a reverse sweep. One map versus Shanghai, and a good one at that. This wasn't like some really, kind of performance from Guangzhou that they got lucky in. Although, that being said, Shanghai, yeah, okay, they subbed in Molly. We get it. They played some Roadhog, a little bit strange. But it was still a good performance from Guangzhou. We'll give them that. I don't know where Shanghai go now. I didn't catch if they sub Molly back out or not. So we'll see if Shanghai is still running this same lineup or maybe they've changed. Who knows?
I mean, I can go ahead and play spoiler to that since we didn't have the graphic pop up below.
Oh.
That means Molly is here to stay. Izuyaki is not going to be coming back in, so Molly is still here. I mean, a bit of a rough start, especially when he was trying to go out with the Zenyatta on their attack was just getting bullied. There's not really many other ways to kind of put it. It was just a rough time for him. Swapping over onto the Ana, considerably better, but just, I mean, overall for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, not good enough to be able to get that win.
It will be struggle streak for Molly no matter what. I don't even think it's like, I don't think you can look at this and be like, oh yeah, they sub Molly in, so obviously they lost because of that. Well, I mean, the way they're attacking, especially with the way they were trying to play is, they're gonna be split up. I'm just addressing their attacking phase first of all, is when you have Fleder and Fade and Lip and all the rest trying to go for flanks and you don't have any presence on the double doors, the obvious target is going to be Molly. He's going to get dove, he's going to get wrecked, and it's going to be rough days. And even on the Ana, you might have a bit more survivability, but you are still the main target, so it was always going to be pretty rough. Here, we will see if Shanghai can do a better job of, having Molly have some more presence, stay alive. They get to attack first as well. It doesn't seem like Guangzhou have any major flankers, so Molly should have a pretty decent game now with far less deaths.
Thanks for the assist.
All right, well, Farah here for the defense. Fleta at least looking to scout potentially with the Hangzhou maybe, or just get that TP out. From up top, see. They're waiting for the word back. Say, all right, what's the scouting report say? And it's like, okay, let me just go ahead and match Farah for Farah.
But there is a McCree, so that's going to be the key difference here. It's going to be McCree playing behind the back as well. Kareem's going to be pumping up the heels, hoping to get this very quick amplification matrix, which versus a Farah matchup, by the way, if Fleder is spending a lot of time shooting the ground, Kareem should actually be able to farm this pretty quick.
Hack out on the Krong makes him an absolute ult battery right there. Taking a nap as well. Still very low. I mean, everybody on the side of the charge just taking so much damage. The kills not yet to follow. As I say it though, Kareem will go down. Stun onto Fate. A little bit of an awkward spot. I don't know. It's kind of landed perfectly there on the ledge.
Oh, Eileen.
Yeah, flashbang stun connects onto him, but I mean, just like that, in onto the point. Choice A1 looking for the reset. Says, yeah, I need the swap in all likelihood. So we'll just go ahead and jump off the side of the map, get ready to try and defend here in the street space.
And already, I mean, this is just Shanghai off to a roll. They get another stagger kill as well. Molly has a boost available, which should be going over towards Fleder. Yeah, last time they gave it to Fate, but he was in trouble, so this time it should go to Fleder as the barrage is coming online. Kareem had to instantly pop his immortality field there for Krong as well, so as soon as that happened, immortality was completely destroyed quite quickly, and there was still low HP. It was probably going to be over because of the splash damage from Fleder. And even beyond that, Lips nearly onto EMP, so this is going to be a massive snowball. Guangzhou Charge probably can't hold.
Yeah, just diving forward. Fleta hovering above. Gonna be waiting to get into A nice opportunity, a nice spot to use this barrage. Jumps forward. Immortality field is cleared, and that is just Rio having to say goodbye. Nobody else wants to push in there to try to shut him down. The Deadeye from Eileen not in a position to punish. We'll just go ahead, pull well into the back. I mean, so much space bought right now as the Lip goes on a pretty deep hunt. Does get punished. Get that elimination, and in a bit of an awkward spot, so Leeching on. We'll see if he can try to get that res off. He can, in fact. Good protection comes through. The EMP used. Hacks 3. But immediately dives in on top of Choice A1. Tries to get this elimination. It's just a little bit too elusive. Manages to dart out of the room. Can now try to re-aggress, but just over 2 meters remaining to get this push into point B and have a massive time pick for the final stretch. See if they can get it here on this attack, or if they have to wait a little bit longer. Void still continues to play up around the front. Molly gonna get picked off. Eileen finds a nice headshot. Flashbang in, spans the hammer, finishes off Fate with a melee hit, but it comes in on the back end. Let's finally get rid of the Cowboy as Void tries to buy some space. We'll do so. We'll get remeked. We still have to wait for this Wrecking Ball to rejoin the fight.
And now they have ultimates for the Charge side as well, and they were able to kill to Lip. This is where things start to fall apart. I thought Shanghai would have been able to be a little bit more successfully or at all in this case, but what happens is, I mean, the window comes down, Flitter dies, one kind of feeds here, which is not ideal. Because Flitter dies and Lip decides the EMP, that's just a disjointed play. You don't have Flitter to take advantage of the EMP, and it all goes awry. So, ultimate's being expended now by the Charge. Shanghai probably just want to respect this. Barrage?
Oh, yes. Okay. I mean, he just drops straight in on top of their faces. Just absolutely destroys them. The Baby Diva gone. McCree gone. No chance of getting a flashbang. He just absolutely gets obliterated. And that will be the cleanup and the shove through now. So another minute and a half to be added to the time bank. 4 minutes and 19 seconds now here.
I guess no respect given when Flit is in position for a barrage, and Charge have no idea where he is. They failed to mark the Farah, and they got punished for it pretty heavily here, as Flit will now change over towards the Hangzhou for C, where obviously Farah is going to have a little bit more limited space to play with. Hangzhou versus a Orisa, brilliant matchup, as you'd expect. EMP should be available. Nano, I don't actually know who you Nano in this fight anymore. No great targets.
Well, good target for Choice A1. Nice pulse bomb stick, gets rid of Fleta. He's going to TP back into a bit of a precarious spot, but he's got the peel and the heals to keep him alive in the fight. Minefield now coming down. EMP going to be coupled in with it. Immortality field doesn't last too long. Rio trying to stay alive. They cannot finish him off, even with the help of that Bionade. So stay in here. This Fate just going to get shoved back. Yeah, nice little boop. Still gets a knock up onto Eileen. As they look for a kill. They try to get rid of the Cowboy. Oh, Fleta just sends his corpse flying against the wall. Power of with which that arrow was released just cannot be understated. Or overstated, rather, I should say. Trying to clear it out. Rio still in the back line. Left out on an island, however, will get picked off. So the cart's still steadily advancing, and the time bank is still quite strong here for the side of the Dragons. Now, Dragon Strike is ready. Throws that out over towards the side. It's Mondu on the ground. Choice A1 cannot touch. So they will be able to finish the map with 2 minutes and 57 seconds remaining.
And Shanghai won that basically purely through tempo as well. You'll actually notice there were 5v6 in the initial engage because Flitter died, was still respawning, and Lip goes for the EMP in a 5v6 without Flitter, so they just play that one. And originally it looks like a pretty shoddy EMP, like, it's not doing that much, they can't really engage. It's not because of the amount of targets or lack thereof of the EMP itself, but the fact that they just don't have the follow-up. They're diving into a Ant Matrix from Kariv as well, but they kept the pressure up. Flitter comes back in. They start finding some really good frags. Molly gives Nano over to Void, so question answered. I guess the next best target here on the roster ends up being Void, and funny enough, after that, it's probably Lee J. Guns Brig is the second best after Void. So, you know, we're going down the list here of who is the next best for the Nano when you just remove all the properly good ones. And Void actually gets a decent amount of work done there, because despite losing the mech, he self-destructs and they keep the momentum up, they keep pushing, eventually they have a player advantage, they have the frags, and Charge, they don't have a hold. I am very surprised that Shanghai Dragons won 5v6, what was originally a 5v6. It just seemed like they were throwing everything at the wall and seeing what stuck, what was going to stick, and well, the entire push was going to stick, and they got the 257.
All right, well, quite the time to try to beat. There certainly could have been worse, but unfortunately, not that much bled away. Lip pushes forward, scouts it out. Still have this far up. They try to knock people down. starting off with this double hit scan, maybe they can just displace Fleta and put him in an unreasonable position.
Look like they want to make the upper strategy here, so they're going to go top left as usual. Fleta's going to be a problem here, so he's actually playing main. I think Fleta should think about potentially playing coast. Okay, there he is now. He's on coast now, and slam.
Yeah, comes down. I mean, shield is just absolutely massive there for Fate. Make sure that he just doesn't take realistically any damage as he pulls back away. Fleta has to show quite a bit of respect, though, as the damage continues to come in. Immortality field. 21 going to be grateful for that. Allows him to top him back up, and Molly is going to be the first one to get picked off. Fate's so very low, and no one available to heal him because Lee Jae-gon is stuck up in the air with Fleta, who just gets absolutely two-tapped by Eileen. A dink into the chest, and that is just going to be a huge pickup here for the Guangzhou Charge, who take point A with their first attempt.
That is so needed for the Charge as well, just getting that at 1 attempt, and that's because Shanghai also got A in 1 attempt, so if we're going to try and match this 257 at all, Charge need all the time they can get. They are going to lose Eileen to Lip, which is going to give Lip a little bit more charge for the EMP. There's no good defense for the EMP just yet. Maybe Kareev has to play a bit of a further away angle, save the Matrix if possible. There's not going to be any rally available just yet either. So Guangzhou Charge off to a good start, but they need to keep this momentum through B and maximize the amount of time they have on C to try and reach this 257.
See if they can. Alex Rocket out, doesn't hit onto Molly. He's going to send out the Nano Boost this time. He's going to go onto Fade. Wasn't low HP or anything. You just want to try to empower him, I suppose. He can continue to play forward. Doesn't have to worry about rolling out. Just continue to wreak havoc. But just sending out some arrows here in the side room, trying to get these hits through, but hasn't really been able to find too many kills. Slip in the meantime, does get choice A1. Rally's going to be popped. Mandu armoring up everybody. Lean down to about a fifth of his HP. Still does manage to stay alive and will get topped up. A little bit of time bought. They take them off the cart for now. As Eileen pops the Deadeye, just looking for a target, but yeah, it's going to be a whiff. Now EMP strikes, manages to find 3. Rio going to fall to the self-destruct. Choice A1, however, tries to drag it back. Manages to find Fleta with the Helix Rockets. Fate going to be stunned up as he tries to exit, but everybody just hounds him down. Bionade onto 2, but can anybody capitalize on the damage? The answer is yes. Void can finish off Prong. Void, though, himself in danger of losing the mech. Pocket healing coming out from Lee Jae-gon might just be enough to keep him alive. Fleta dead as soon as he arrives back into the fight. Pile driver connects here onto the high ground. Sleep Dart will send Rio taking a nap down below. Lee Jae-gon falls as Void tries to create some space here for the rest of his squad, but now they are without supports.
Eileen's fragging up a storm here as well. I mean, can this still be doable for the Charge? They have, I was going to say Kareev alive. With Kareev alive, they at least have a heal advantage. It seems like eventually now, especially with Fate down, Shanghai Dragons want to back out, and it was a pretty good series of play. They're coming through from Shanghai because they knew Charge had more ultimates. They saw that Charge were dropping down ultimates, Supercharger, and Matrix, everything like that, and I was asking, where is Lip in my head? Lip could be here, cancel the whole thing, but they give the respect over, wait for a better opportunity. EMP after the ultimates are gone, they play it, and they go in. And now let's see with Krong, while the self-destruct doesn't catch.
Shots again, pressure applied. Fleta this time has a little bit of extra peel, but it doesn't last very long. He and Molly both falling. Fate tries to roll through, but Eileen is just tracking him wonderfully up in the air. Void now going to be deep mech, and that is going to be point B. Snatched up here. Oh my god, the dinks. It's just a glorious sound to be heard for McGree around the world. Eileen putting on one hell of a show right now.
Shanghai's job now is to look for the possibility of a good EMP. Lip was potentially looking for one in B, but too many members started going down. I think if they had at least 5 members alive, I could see Lip going for it. Here, they will give that one up. Play for C, for positioning. Fleta on an angle already. EMP connects.
It hits. Doesn't really lead to too much armor from the rally, keeping everybody alive. And Eileen finds a very rare Deadeye D-make there on the Void. Flashbang is good, can't quite get the headshot onto Fleta, so he lives to fight another day. Just kind of cruising around the cart here while he
Those
can.
mines are nowhere. I don't know what Fate did with those mines, but they are so far away from the payload. It seems like a misplay coming through from the ball dive, and that's kind of with the EMP in general. The EMP connects, but there's no play.
Well, double dive in onto Eileen does finally get rid of him. Mandu be eliminated as Void comes up with 2 kills. Fleta just going to be recalling out the safety. Keeps himself alive in the fight while Fate tries to chase forward, get ready for another minefield, but we'll have to pull back as the respawns start to come in.
And you have to look at the time now. In about 5 seconds time, the 257 will be gone. I think it would have been difficult to match the 257 anyway. And now the new target will be just to be completing with any time. Above 1 minute is the next target for the Guangzhou Charge. And then we move away from any weird kind of draw scenarios here. We have to be playing for a proper, real time back where both teams have the capability to actually attack properly. Can that be done though? Choice of one's got over towards the 12. They're playing hard bunker. They lose Kareev.
Oh, great opening pick here for Molly. That's going to be the immortality field now, the window out of the fight. Already have the time to take advantage, but Shanghai Dragons certainly hungry to just go ahead and end this right here, right now. Don't want to go into extra innings. We're going to close this out as cleanly as humanly possible.
It's going to get rough now, because as time starts dwindling down, even more win conditions for the Charge, I think, start dwindling here as well, and Matrix has to be the first one they think about, but they have no angles, they have no ground. I think to really get a good window down, you have to have claimed positioning on the map first. You can see that all the high ground has been currently used by the Dragons, and, you know, Lip is somewhere out into the ether as well, doing a scouting report, I'm sure, about where the team's moving back. That's very aggressive EMP.
Oh my god, absolutely massive from Lip. Hits just about everybody. And it's just going to be such a swift cleanup. Team kill comes through. I mean, 1 minute and 45 now on the clock, and you start becoming concerned as to whether or not they're going to be able to make this push happen. They have so many ults just about to be online, nearly 5. They have to get into a position to use them.
They're going to have to spend ults just to get positioning back, and that's the problem where they currently are in Numbani, is because they've lost so much ground. They're going to have to use stuff to fight for the high ground. I mean, they could try and just go through into the underpass and straight to the payload, but I don't think they're going to get past.
Dragon Strike in a pretty good position, splits them apart. Takes all
Charge
of them rather low. Immortality Field is already used. Charge trying to commit to this fight. Transcendence is out from Molly to try to extend this. Manu stunned up, goes low. Shield Bash will get rid of the Baby Diva. Rio now falling, and the turret from Choice A1 will actually finish off Molly. Uses the Molten Core to try to buy a little bit of extra space, as Lip will manage to escape, but they're still not back to the card. They're just now getting ready to touch and start moving things forward again. Dive comes in though. Fleta too far forward, gets punished for that. Fate might be in a similar situation. Has to roll back out to the opposite side of things, get ready to re-aggress. Part now back on the final stretch. We'll see if they can get this moving.
Look at the Chagon. He's on an Ana. They're trying to just make a last-ditch play here. There's about 35 seconds remaining. They know there's one last defense. Can they get an EMP? That would be pretty big for Shanghai. Ultimate's being thrown up by Guangzhou Charge. They're running out of resources.
They absolutely have an EMP. 3% to go. Eileen gonna be slapped out of the Deadeye. Tries to take a shot. Yeah, great aim there from Lee Jae-gon. Shuts him down. Discord Orb now goes out onto the Cowboy. That forces the immortality from Kareev. Knows that they absolutely 100% need Eileen in this fight.
EMP?
4 meters left to go. The EMP comes in. Supercharger's down from Rio, but he is hacked as a choice they wanted. Kareev. Kills not yet to follow though. Lee Jae-gon nearly with a nano. Window comes out from the cross angle. As Fleta will fall, Eileen gets that shot. Void trying to play up close and personal, will get demeched. Nano boost goes out, it's over onto Lip. The DP is Sombra, but they are falling apart. This completion may very well be coming through. They clear a decent amount of space there with the Molten Core. They will be able to glide it in, but crucially, it's with 0 time in the time bank. That means the Shanghai Dragons have just shy of 3 minutes to get a single tick on A to close this series out.
Yeah, so look, if there's going to be a reverse sweep, it's going to be a 6-mapper, which I'm sure you're pleased about at this stage where we're 13 deep. We've got a 15, I hope. Guangzhou Charge have now fully got their backs against the wall. As far back as it can possibly go, as a draw is required to keep them in the game. Now, the copium here is they did pretty well on A. They got a 1 attempt on A. So did Shanghai, but that was on their attack. So I guess that's actually not good for Guangzhou. You know what? Let me get rid of that. That was not actually coping for Guangzhou at all. That's actually bad for Guangzhou, because I believe Guangzhou should be the defending team. Yeah, they would be, wouldn't they? In any case, that was really well done from Shanghai on the defense, because, again, consider that they just robbed Guangzhou of tempo again, pushed up to their spawn camped them effectively, not overstaying their welcome, controlling all the high ground, knowing that Guangzhou's team composition on this Orisa really sucks at taking the high ground, and they knew that Guangzhou Charge were going to have to spend ultimates and spend resources just to win the fight, which they did, but then there wasn't enough time and wasn't really too much resource to end with. I mean, I think it was great that they ended with a nice amplification matrix on an angle from Kareev to cover Rio, who was still on the payload, with the last vestiges of that supercharger still running through. They got the damage required. Now they're going to have to do that, and more so, they must hold this beautifully, otherwise it will be done.
Everybody's just going to be bunkered in here. that top left position. Rio now going to pull back. Here the Farah starting to skirt around the coastal side of things. Fleta looks to weave some rockets in behind those barriers. Ult is used.
They're already capping.
Yeah, pressure starts to come in onto the point. That draws some attention away. It's just the D.Va that moves down, though. Can rejoin on the high ground rather easily as Choice One is just trying to farm out here against Fate. Molly going to be taken down. Fate not receiving any healing. He's got actually just 1 HP right now remaining on this Wrecking Ball. And we'll go ahead and scoop up a Mega Pack somewhere.
I think Shanghai just
up close.
Shanghai just got to farm some ultimates here. They're going to get outpaced by Kareem in just a hard second. This is what I expected. The first time Shanghai attacked against the same defense was that as long as you don't just die to Fled and get picked out, Kareem should easily farm an Ant Matrix off this because you're just farming AoE healing into AoE damage. And now this is what Charge rather need to try and win at least one fight here in the neutral and snowball the rest of the rolls.
Quite a bit of damage there on the Fleta for a second, and he is going to get picked off. Eileen finds the kill. He's just right here on the side. Lee Khan, oh, he's got nowhere to go. He's just dancing around, but getting picked off in the ends. The pharmacy eliminated. Barrage still not yet online, and Eileen almost has that Dragon Strike. Choice A1 crucially as well with a Pulse Bomb. Could obliterate their hopes in just an instant.
It will have to be a barrage play from Shanghai. We're nearly at the final attempt. There should be Nano to help Fleta farm up, and then into the barrage rather. Early window, they can dodge it. That's too early. I'm sorry, that's too early from Kareev. And yeah, Shanghai, they can just choose not to play that at all.
Yep, and it's not in any kind of position to also play, you know, against this top left side, so they could go through there if they wanted. It's going to be straight back over to the coast. Nano Boost now going to be invested. Fleta gets the barrage online. Everybody fairly contained, and yeah, Mandu is eliminated right as the rally would have become available. A couple direct hits sends Krong out of the mech, and now the barrage can be opened up. Fleta dives in. Karim is gone. The Baby D.Va is finished off. Rio trying to retreat, but he just will not be allowed to do so. Choice A1 is EMP'd. He cannot use the Pulse Bomb. And Shanghai Dragons, it was definitely looking close. It seemed like maybe the Guangzhou Charge would have been able to extend the series even further. But Shanghai, they stick in with Molly. They get the map win this time around on Nambani to close it out.
And you know what? I respect Moon's decision there. I respect Shanghai's decision to retain Molly in there because I think it's important for people to know that Molly being in on Hanamura, like, it wasn't his fault. They didn't lose because Molly's in here, and they can prove very easily that with Molly in, they can still win. And deservedly, Molly will be able to, you know, pick up a W in the series. I think he's picked up wins also. I think he's gotten at least a map versus Valiant in the past, but versus a slightly better team here is valuable for someone like Molly. And the Shanghai Dragons, they played Nambani very well. There were some cases there where, okay, I think the egg defense could have used some work. Charge rolled through fairly quickly. But as far as A attacks go, especially when we're looking at the one tick here, they know what their goal is, what the objective is, and they know what to play towards. And it was a very high-pressure, high-intensity scenario for the Guangzhou Charge. And with this kind of result, they're currently sitting at, I believe, an 0-2 start. For the Countdown Cup, they can only get 2 more wins, which I still think they can. It'll be versus Valiant and Hangzhou Spark, but yeah, it's the season right now is looking pretty cut.
Yeah, it seems like maybe we just kind of have everything figured out at this point. You know, it's hard to say. You never really know what's going to happen. There's already been some crazy upsets. I mean, like, let alone in this region. I mean, you think about, you know, the breadsticks being achieved and a 3-0 for the Boston Uprising, who look great. You never know what is going to happen on a given day. So yeah, I mean, they absolutely could win that. And with Eileen playing the way that he is, he was hitting some crisp shots. He absolutely could go up against Shy, potentially to outduel him with those McCrees. So we'll see what happens there. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at our player of the match. It's one of those, you know, somewhat rare occasions. We're going to be handing it over to a support player. This time it's going to Lee Jae Gon on the Shanghai Dragons.
Lee Jae Gon is, I think the last time he played the match, at least I remember it was the game that we had where there's a Lee Jae Gon tower and all the poops. But I think Lee Jae Gon overall, and you know, we'll say, yeah, Lee Jae Gon, he died on that one control center. Etc. Overall, Lee Jae Gon's one of the unsung heroes of the team that's already stacked to the brim of excellent players across the board. Someone that people every now and then forget is on this team, but you know, Lee Jae Gon will swiftly remind you that, of course, He's one of the determining factors, one of the big factors of the success of the Shanghai Dragons, and will continue to prove that on multiple heroes as well. Even though Lucio is banned, Brig has been, just as good here, and beyond that as well, a mercy partner for Fleta as one of the other successful pharmacy duos, especially in the Eastern Division next to like Jinmu Nisho, Jinmu Yveltal. Lee Jigong Fleta is definitely one of the top ones.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he's one of those players where, much like Funny Astro, you kind of just immediately think of Lucio, just given their history, the amount of impact that they can have with that pick in particular. I mean, we're seeing Lee Jigong going in crucially, getting the body block there on Fleta to make sure that he's going to be safe. So even there's all those micro plays, moment over moment, he is just completely reacting and playing perfectly for the most part. But I mean, he's shown time and time again, much like Funny Astro did at the beginning of their series, that they are very well adept when it does come down to the Brigida. As we take a look at his stats, I mean, that's just an absolute metric ton of armor provided throughout this. 48 eliminations, 10 offensive assists as well. Yeah, and his Inspire uptime at 31% is absolutely huge.
Which, by the way, that's versus mostly Orisa comps, which I think it's hard to get Inspire uptime. So the fact that you're playing Brigida here versus Charge, who don't play a lot of dive compared to their Orisa comps, you're going to get way more Inspire uptime in a dive versus dive. So impressed with what I'm seeing out of Lee Jae-gon and Shanghai Dragons coming back this stage, even though their final scoreline will also be a 2-2, where they probably can't make the Countdown Cup. I don't think that was the goal for them for this particular stage. Some people might write that off as Shanghai Copium, but the truth is, and Moon said it himself, but they were taking it a little bit easier. Rush has also said that Dallas are taking it a little bit easier in terms of schedules. They don't want to burn out before the playoffs. And no matter what happens, win or lose here, Shanghai Dragons have locked themselves in for playoffs and purchased their tickets to go to Texas.
Yeah, I mean, still in a prime position, still very much at the top of the league, despite, some of the more rough and uneasy series that we have seen from them. I mean, it still stands that they have been, the most consistent team throughout this year for the most part, especially in the APAC region in particular. So a very good look for them. I want to give a quick little shout out to Void, who in my heart was going to be my MVP or my player of the match. I mean, good God, there was just times where he was just completely strapping everybody to his jetpacks and just flying through the enemy team. So it was a really good look for him. But yeah, Shanghai Dragons, they're able to close that out, and we get to see Molly pick up a win. So a nice little look for him. It's time now just to kind of relax. The action is over for the evening. We get a couple of minutes to talk about our thoughts. And I know, Avril, you'd like to take maybe a little bit of a deeper dive into this victory and what it might mean for the overall standings in the region.
Sure. So, I mean, at this stage in the game, we have actually confirmed, I believe, Philadelphia Fusion and Seoul Dynasty locked in for knockouts for the Countdown Cup. So they will be in the top 4 of the Eastern Division. And the 2 teams that are yet to be determined to join them is most likely probably Chengdu Hunters, based on strength of schedule. They have Hangzhou and Valiant left to go, so that's, I think, at minimum a 3-1 finish for them, which would be equal to Seoul and Philadelphia. There's actually a chance that Chengdu can clean up a 4-0 here, which would instantly put them to the number 1. New York, kind of hoping for some sort of tiebreaker that gets them in here. Hangzhou Spark, if they go 2-2, I don't know if they can match New York. They might be able to squeeze past New York. I think Hangzhou Spark actually have a reasonable chance to still squeeze in here. Guangzhou Charge have a slightly less of a chance to squeeze in because they're 1 map behind the Hangzhou Spark, which is their closest competitive. Valiant, it's going to be rough. It's not looking great for Valiant, but they, who knows? Maybe Valiant could really try and get something done versus Guangzhou. But based on how Guangzhou have been playing, yeah, they lost today. Yeah, they lost yesterday, but they took some good maps off historically based on Summer Showdown, like the top 2 teams in the Eastern Division. So Eileen's been playing well, Choi's been playing well. I think overall Guangzhou Charge have had some good looks, just not very consistently. And now, based on the scoreline of them still being stuck at, I think, overall 3 points, I don't know if their season is possible anymore. They would have to squeeze in via some sort of 2-2 tiebreaker into the top 4 of the Countdown Cup, beat the number 1 seed, go to the Countdown Cup, and get extra points. That would be the only way.
I mean, hey, everything's possible, in this game. Anything can change day over day. You never know what's going to happen. There is a universe where that is absolutely the reality that happens, as you say. But man, what a day it has been. Lots of maps. We had the appearance by Jaws earlier on, so thank you to him for having me alongside that ride. Thank you for joining in as always, Avril. Until next week, guys, that's going to do it for us here in the APAC region. Of course, we have the final day of NA coming up in just a little bit, so make sure you guys tune into that. Until then, we'll see you next time.